The coronavirus outbreak has entered the White House after staffers in contact with you-know-who and Vice President Pence tested positive. Now, some are self-isolating, but Mike Pence is going back to work at the White House today, a place that economic advisor Ken Hassett says he'd rather avoid right now. Well, take a look.
It is scary to go to work. You know, I was not part of the White House in March. I think that I'd be a lot safer if I was sitting at home than I would be going to the West Wing. But, you know, it's a time when people have to step up and serve their country. You know, it's a small, crowded place. It's you know, it's a little bit risky, but you have to do it because you have to serve your country. And there are a lot of things that you can't do except there.
Well, I know this is a ridiculous question to ask, but if the White House can't figure out how to keep the coronavirus out of the workplace, you know, how are they going to tell everybody else get back to work? I mean, I don't understand it. I'm now sort of batting it around in my brain. Sonny, what do you think?
I think one of the problems is they themselves aren't adhering to the guidelines that health professionals are telling us all to adhere to. You have someone like the president who is going to a factory a mask factory without wearing a mask. You have Vice President Pence going to the Mayo Clinic without wearing a mask. You have people at the White House not wearing masks, you know, not social distancing. And so at this point, you have 11 Secret Service agents surrounding the president testing positive for COVID-19. You have Dr. Fauci actually in a modified quarantine after coming in contact with the White House staffer who tested positive for the virus. You have Ivanka Trump's personal assistant testing positive for COVID-19. You have President Trump's personal valet testing positive for COVID-19.
Right.
So they're not getting it.
Right.
And my question is really, what it's like the White House is a petri dish now. So what are they going to do? Are they going to change the messaging now at all? Probably not, right?
We'll find out. We'll find out. Joy, what do you think is going to be the wake-up call? Or is there going to be one for you-know-who? I mean, if he doesn't have it now, I don't know if he's ever going to get it, but that's me.
You know what, Whoopi? You-know-who don't know diddly squat. You know, April Ryan, the White House correspondent, she tweeted that there are even more cases there than they're even reporting. Still, Trump and Pence refuse to wear the mask. This is interesting to me because the Republican playbook, as far as I could see over the years, has been when they get the disease of some sort, then they change their policies. Case in point, Nancy Reagan, who became a stem cell research proponent after her husband got Alzheimer's disease. Mm-hmm. So they're not even behaving like a typical Republican. And maybe if Trump actually gets it, they will. And while 79,531 people have died in the United States, this guy is tweeting things against Brian Stelter at CNN. He's got some kind of fakakta hashtag that goes Obamagate. What does it even mean? No one knows what he's talking about. He's so desperate to drive this false narrative that look at, you just showed a clip of a guy who's scared to go to work. His own counsel advisor is afraid to go to work.
Right.
What can I tell you? So
the White House is taking the lion's share of the blame for both the health and economic crisis, but you say there's plenty of blame to go around, Megan?
Yeah, I echo everything all you ladies have said about the White House being dangerous. There's a lot of hypocrisy on the sense that to go near the president, you have to actually take a COVID test, and they have access to tests that give you results within minutes. And clearly, the social distancing guidelines that they were enacting, whatever they were, haven't been effective. And I know we've all seen and talked about the women of the White House look like they have professional hair and makeup done, as do a lot of women who are all over different networks. Look, when you have, I would say this is a problem with the elites running the country. And when I say that, I mean people in the media, all politicians, I mean, not all of them, but a swath of politicians. I think when you have someone like Chris Cuomo, who is the brother of Governor Andrew Cuomo, who actively has the coronavirus and then goes out in public and gets in a tiff with his neighbor, and it ends up all over the internet when you aren't socially distancing and staying quarantining, that's a problem. And I've said this for days now. We have to practice what we preach, and I think it's exhausting for, I'm going to speak for myself, but I'm going to include the three of you as well. We have all been very responsible and diligent in every ways, and you can just look at the way we look on TV, which we're apparently being slammed for not looking our absolute best. But do you know why we're not looking our best? Because all of us are being responsible Americans and staying at home. We're not getting our hair and makeup done. We're not going out and getting our professional clothing done as usual. And I think the idea that there's a different standard for people in the White House or for people on TV or for people holding office than there is for the average American is part of the reason why there is this outbreak in the White House. Because as that gentleman said on the clip you showed, he thinks it's his patriotic duty. Well, if your patriotic duty is to go into the White House and possibly infect the entire White House, if you think you could possibly have COVID, that's not going to do anybody any good either if we have the president and his entire staff infected with COVID. So I just wish there would be the same standard for everyone across the board, and there isn't. Look, I know I'm going on a little tangent, but one final thing. There was a picture over the weekend that went viral of a United flight that was completely packed with people. Obviously not social distancing. The flight was completely full. Now, if you are allowed to stay on a flight like that, packed like tuna in a can, but you can't go to church, no wonder Americans are freaking out right now. So apparently, if I want to see my family or any of you, the four of us should just book a seat on United and sit next to each other, and then maybe I'll get to see Sunny, Joy, and Whoopi this week.
Well, I will
just
say that
one thing to
that
what you
United
just said?
flight, I believe, hold on, I think that the United flight was all doctors who had been here for a while on their way home, and one of the doctors was upset because he felt like maybe there should have been fewer people on that flight. But I will say they were all wearing masks and stuff. But your point is well taken, Megan. Joy, you were about to say something?
Thank you, Whoopi.
I believe that I think that Chris Cuomo, when he had that argument with his neighbor, was on his property. He was home. I believe. Check it out.
I mean,
Okay.
I just know what I've read. He interacted with his neighbor enough for him to be angry enough to go all over media complaining about it. And I just think my understanding is if you have the COVID virus, you should stay inside. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Well, he was outside in front of his own house.
You know, your point is taken, though. We all get the point, and so that's the deal. We all get the point, truly.